Hey Avengers community, today we will go over the Hawkeye Endgame skin being officially released, the Marvel's Avengers YouTube account is posting tips and tricks on gameplay, and what exactly was that Red Room prequel? We'll have an entire week in review, but first, what's this community's reaction to Hawkeye's MCU skin? By the way, I'm Missing Score 44 and this is your Avengers News. In official capacity, the Hawkeye MCU skin has been revealed by Crystal Dynamics and it will be available later today. On their Twitter page as shown, it states, "Find that glimmer of hope. Inspired by the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Hawkeye's Marvel Studios' Avengers Endgame outfit features the Master Archer in dark attire perfect for a battle in the rain. Get it on the marketplace on May 13th. Now, immediately there was backlash. In fact, there was backlash before the skin's official release. And if you've been part of this community, you know exactly what that means. The community has been very vocal about what they want, and they have been sharing images like the concept art from Endgame to show Crystal, what they want as far as the MCU skin goes. The accenting of yellow was not the only concern brought to light by Crystal Dynamics consumers. It was also the overall look of Clint. One of the driving forces behind cosmetics is to be able to look a certain way, and any detail, large or small, can ruin that for members of the community, if not all members of the community. And Hawkeye's hairstyle from either the official film or from the film's concept art was not present. Instead, we got the default version of Barton, which, you can wear a similar looking skin with just the default version. Personally, I wonder how many units these skins even move compared to, the MCU releases such as Black Widow's. I feel like if there isn't much of a difference with the power of the MCU fandom behind it, perhaps Crystal should look into this and with their higher ups into perhaps retroactively changing aesthetics for hair and facial hair for key characters as far as their movie skins go, to better please, their fan base. I feel like the MCU skin leaves a lot to desire visually outside of the hair. I feel like maybe it can use a few bells and whistles, like perhaps a hood, maybe laid on his back, behind the shoulders and all that. And then an aesthetic change for the bow and arrow, which may be something they look into down the line as far as weapon skins go. So that's something that's to be determined. I like to commend the art department and the designers for working on this skin to get it looking as good as they possibly could and to get it out the door. Though maybe there's some code they can maybe put in to swap in a different head or headpiece, which I highly recommend that they look into, that could boost sales for this particular skin. My personal grade is if you want it, you'll collect it. If you dislike it, don't buy it. You as a consumer, you are not obligated to purchase cosmetics or the game itself, and perhaps we can collectively turn our attention to gameplay fixes and getting more activities for group play going, rather than constantly get upset about how skins are looking. And not to downplay skins are important for this type of game and this type of fandom, but the game needs to be playable and the game needs to be enjoyable for long periods of time with a variant of activities, which we are still waiting on. And I can't hold that against the game entirely, but we should be focusing more attention on what's actually important. Next up, previously unknown to me, but now I'm sharing with you, the Marvel's Avengers official YouTube account has posted and has recently been posting a series of tips explaining their game in the form of Marvel's Avengers Essentials. Very catchy name. On May 11th, they posted a guide on leveling gear and the importance of builds and the like. And at current moment, it is sitting at about 9,558 views at the time of this recording. This information could have been used in game, plain and simple. Even if it's not this exact video, it should have been something that we can go in game to view, possibly at a kiosk of some sort, at a base or in the options menu somewhere. It's information you really don't get much from the official game while you're playing, as far as I can remember. I always recall going online to figure out how status effects works and the importance of leveling gear and how to get stronger gear to drop based on how you've leveled it. It wasn't explained, or at least explained in depth from my recollection again, but here, for on the high end of the most part, it's very well explained. It's a useful tool that is late in delivery, as we're almost a year into the game's life cycle, but you know, better late than never, as some would say, as it does deliver the goods on, building your effects and how positive and negative effects works in tandem to do massive damage. The video include a clip of Lejeune with his Hulk tank build as a highlight. I think they should have added a section that explains what is needed to sacrifice to make such powerful builds, if any. And as I know, some builds outside of Lejeune's specific build, they typically require you to sacrifice a stat. Like, you may need to sacrifice all your defense to pump all your stats into heroic, so you can, one-shot Taskmaster or Abomination or something. We could have had a small section explaining the depth of builds, and how hard it is, or not necessarily how hard it is, but the type of work it takes to obtain your specific type of build, especially if you're thunderclapping groups into the next dimension while hardly taking any damage. Overall, I suggest you take a look at the video, as it's very useful, especially if you're a new player, and all necessary links will be posted down below. And lastly, the Red Room Takeover Part 1, or the Rooskaya Protocols, has come to a conclusion, I think. The mission chain included several challenges per available Avenger, and it saw us using Black Widow more in our party to gain red chips. We had to complete drop zones and familiar content, and it was a massive miss by Crystal Dynamics. I personally did not complete all the challenges as far as I recall, but I did come close to just doing my regular routine whenever I find time to play. It seemed overly demanding of your playtime, and if you're a completionist, which the game is counting on, it would have seen you play each and every character with Black Widow on the team, doing all the content in the game several times over, while killing hundreds of aimbots, which we've become accustomed to. Compared to the previous event, this mission chain was unnecessary and a hard pass in my opinion. I feel it could have been broken down into maybe daily missions, and perhaps if not that, then maybe the Red Room versions of each character should have been rewards at the end of each challenge. I appreciate the offer for upgrade modules and, all the polychlorines or whatever, but I've started to come to question, what am I upgrading my gear for these days, as my Iron Man is like ready to basically throw hands with Ultron. With patterns disabled, the cosmetic vendors being severely cut back on, and Roy not having anything I can use for my lower level heroes, the only way I can currently get anything I want is to pay for cosmetics or use the in-game currency I've earned through completing challenge cards. But seeing more people play, learn, and appreciate Black Widow has been a great thing. Finding a group has been faster lately, but not when I do random queues. There's been no shortage of Black Widow players though. But I'm optimistic that what follows this event will be better. Maybe this next iteration of the event will have an in-game explanation, even if it's just reading an email in Natasha's room. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting the channel with a like, subscribe, and comment or critique. Any feedback will help improve the channel, which is my ultimate goal. You can check out my socials if you're interested, and have an amazing rest of the day. Thank you.